Are you left-footed or right-footed?
I'm right-footed all the way. The only thing I do left is eat. With my left hand, left foot is eat. So but no, I want to wear my hat because I know our team plays tomorrow night, and excited. The city's excited. It's great for our city. Anything that you're playing for a championship is important, and the more we can get used to that, the better it is. And what better from our team to be competing for a championship, and most of all, possibly against Seattle.
I mean, this is kind of offbeat, Dwane, but does it help, like when there's winning teams in the city, for your team to kind of like internal competition in practice?
There's a synergy, there's an energy that comes across the city within the teams. Our players love soccer, and we feel we pull for them, and winning is a habit, and the more you can do that. And I hate to say this, but back when we were in Seattle, the Mariners were rolling. We were rolling with the Sonics. Dallas, the Cowboys were rolling. The Rangers were rolling, and it's a synergy, and we have the same in our city. Right. The FC, is rolling. Blue Jays are rolling, and we're trying to get there. But that synergy is important for our city, for our fans, to have that positive vibe going throughout the city.
Yeah. What'd you look at this morning when you talked to the guys after last night? I know people will say it's Philadelphia, but if you didn't do it against Philly, you'd hear about that too.
Well, again, we had a lot of defensive mistakes. Our fundamentals we got to continue to work on. I'm going to keep harping on it, preaching it. We were in the same boat this time last year where we had to do a huge turnaround defensively, and again, we're going to keep working on it. Now, whether we get there or not is going to be up to us, but whether it's Philadelphia, Memphis, Lakers, whoever it is, we have to have a core belief and commitment and be connected together to get it done defensively.
Did you see anything similar when you think back or look back at last year to this year that you could relate or say, look, last year this is what was happening, this is what we need to do now?
Well, one, our communication, our transition defense was not there this time last year, and it's not there now. Our pick and roll defense, our guards have to get into the ball, make sure they contain the ball. There's too many blow-bys, getting from the point A to the basket too easily and putting too much pressure. Now the bigs have to do their job, but our perimeter guys have to make sure they contain the ball one-on-one. We have far too many blow-bys. So those two areas are key areas that we have to get better at.
Dwane, I noticed last night at times the guys out front at the point did a good job of establishing a side to help your help side, and it turned into steals. How important is that in the whole scheme?
It is, and you had to do that. You have to get into the ball, and Corey Joseph is one of our best at doing it, and when he does it, he gets into the ball, he dictates direction, and that's what you're talking about. When you get into the ball, you have a better opportunity to dictate direction, and when you don't do it, the ball is free to go from discover Toronto if it wants to. So we got to make sure we get the ball on the side, dictate direction. The bigs got to communicate loud, early, and continuous. And so all those factors have to come together, and we're just maybe a half a step behind in a lot of areas. And again, I don't think we're the only team in the league. I look at the scores around the league, and the scores are unbelievable. And so there's a lot of teams probably in the same boat we are defensively.
That turnaround that you talk about, getting the defense back to where it needs to be, is that something that can happen in a game or two, or is that, for a lack of a better phrase, a process that'll take some time?
The process.
I didn't mean to.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. It's a process. It takes time. It's not going to happen. The more games you play, unfortunately, the more games you play, the better the offense is probably going to get too, because they're going to get in the rhythm. So you got to really make sure those steps defensively are bigger than the steps that offensive teams are making, because right now teams are scoring at a high rate, shooting the ball at an extremely high rate. You got centers like tomorrow night, Gasol shooting 41% from the three. So the game is either changing or the offense is getting so much better and sophisticated. I think Doug brought it up yesterday. Coaches are so sophisticated and players are so sophisticated now offensively that you have to stay above the curve on the defensive end of the floor.
Lucas was telling us about a moment in one game last week where he was having a rough day, and Kyle came to him on the floor after he picked up a few fouls and sort of grabbed him and gave him whatever it was, like a motivational talk. Right. How much has that area of Kyle's game in terms of the leadership grown in your time?
It's grown a lot. I think Kyle's a leader by example. When people see him bust his butt, go down there and dig out a loose ball, take a charge, run back and block a shot in transition. And then the other night, I think in the Milwaukee game, Lucas was struggling a little bit, and then he come up and got 2 big blocks, and Kyle said, hey, that's the Lucas we need. And so those words of encouragement from Kyle and DeMar are huge, and especially from Kyle, who's both those guys are our leader, and that's what they got to do. They got to, to be the coaches on the floor. They get encouragement, get on guys when they don't do their jobs, as we will, and that's, our team is going to go defensively and offensively the way they go.
Dwane, how much of a bigger test will it be the way Memphis plays in terms of their pace and it's kind of old-fashioned, slow grinding? How much better a test will that be for your defense as opposed to a game where the pace is quicker and it goes up and down?
Well, again, if you can do it in a fast-paced game, your defense is tougher. In a grinded-out game, it's different. It's tougher in a different way, where you got to grind it out, hit somebody in the mouth, hit them first, and continuous, keep the tight paint, and make sure you see the cutters, because they're trying to get in the painted area, whether it's Gasol in his post-ups, back cut by Tony Allen, back cut by whoever else. So we got to be in a mindset of physicality, protect the paint, and control Conley in pick-and-roll situations. But again, you have a physical mentality going into the game, and it's going to be for 48 minutes.
The tapes that Kyle was telling us about, the tape that you said, he goes, you said we must be playing bad defense. I just looked at that tape and it was pretty awful. But the ones you're putting together, that's nothing different than anything you've done in the past.
No,
right?
Again, that's one thing. Like we said, we're consistent. We're going to be consistent defensively. That's the only way you learn. That's the only way you get better. Practice time. Physical energy is limited for practice. You can practice and leave your energy on the court or use it tomorrow night in the game. And we do what we can on the court in the film room. So we put the films together. And again, what we try to do is, from a coaching standpoint, what is a trend? Is our transition defense a trend? Lack of communication, pick and roll defense, is that a trend? So we got to show it. And if whoever feelings it hurts, we can't worry about that. And again, the films, the old saying is the films don't lie. Now you may debate, well, it's a gray area here, gray area there, and there's a lot of that going on. But the bottom line is films don't lie.
Improvements needed on the defensive end, as you say, but what are your thoughts and assessment offensively? All 5 starters in double figures yesterday, and Terrence coming off the bench with a huge game, even with DeMar not playing as well.
We can't fall in love with. We're happy with the offense, but again, in this league, you got to be able to stop somebody at some point. And the better the teams are, the more critical that's going to become. So we can get happy about scoring, which is great. I love it. The last time I checked, the team with the most points on the scoreboard wins the game. But at the same time, we got to make sure we turn some of that energy to the defensive end and get stops, be more upset about not getting a stop than missing a shot. So that's where our commitment, our connection, our caring has to come in.
How was he on his ankle today?
He's fine. I think he probably could have played last night. I don't know if it was as bad as we thought it was, but he's okay.